Welcome to a new episode of the Sporting Burst, the house of all sports. You already know what it is. We talk about sports all day long. It's basketball, it's football, it's baseball, it's hockey, you name it. We're going to be discussing and bringing you all the exciting news of the sporting world in general with your host right here, Andre and Dylan. And we have had quite a week, a lot of exciting news for today's episode, a lot of action, especially in the NFL. Obviously, we are in that period of the year where the NFL is just complete fire and there is a lot of stuff going on. But we're going to be talking about a lot of the other topics today as well. So it's been an
Exciting week, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Because I guess we have a bit of everything in regards of NFL, right? Coaches getting fired. We have to start with that, I guess. We have the NCAA. We have the wild card round as well. It's a lot of things that we have.
A lot of
coming.
action
So,
going on. Yeah.
Too many things to talk about, and that's what we love. So
Yeah. And I
Let's-
hope you guys are ready because this episode is going to be loaded. But before we jump into any topics, a quick reminder that if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please go ahead and do that because we're going to be bringing episodes twice a week. You already know the good stuff is coming on Mondays and Fridays. So remember, Mondays and Fridays, always a new episode of the Sporting Burst podcast with all the exciting news, like I said before, in the sports world. So go ahead and click the subscribe button, turn on the notifications, drop a comment, all the good stuff you already know. Share it, like it. I mean, we are in the era of media. You guys already know how to do all this stuff. Follow us on socials if you want to see the clips, all the highlights, everything from this show because, again, we have a lot of fun. So, yeah. Let's
and we
jump
have a lot to talk about. So
straight into the topics because, like you said, yeah, we have a lot to cover today. And I guess the first thing we should talk about is the NCAA college. I can talk right now. I'm so excited I can even talk. NCAA football college season came to an end, and
Great
what a
match.
type of end! And I was right, wasn't I?
Yes. I hate to admit it, but yes, you were right. A lot of things happening right during the match. I think it was a close match until probably the fourth quarter. Right, it was. I felt that Washington was there the whole time, but definitely, it's very difficult to compete against that defense, against that offense as well. So nothing to do for Washington. I guess they fought all way long, but at the end, definitely the best team won, and that's actually what you want to see, right? So it was
Yeah.
it was definitely a good match. Very tight match, probably until the third quarter. Then interception. Then then Michigan happened. That's it. That's it.
Especially the defense, like you said. Michigan won 13-34 at the end of that game. So yeah, the score doesn't really tell the full story because it was a close game, especially in the first half. And I told you this on our latest episode that the defense was gonna be
Fire.
the key, right?
Yeah.
It was going to be the key for Michigan to win this game, and it was. And not only that, but they doubled down on the fact that they were all season long a rushing team, and they completely crushed Washington on the rush because the numbers tells you the whole story, right? The amount of yards that just Blake Corum got is 134 yards, 2 touchdowns, and the totals. Listen to this. It's 46 to 303 in rushing yards. So 300 yards for Michigan on the
that was
rush.
the total. That was the total that Washington had during the whole game, right? Passing, rushing, So it was definitely a great offense, great Russian offense, definitely, and it was dominant. I guess
Yeah.
that's the word for Michigan. Not only in this game, I guess for the whole season, they showed actually to be,
Yeah.
they showed as a dominant team during
Yep.
the whole season, and this was a reflection of it.
Yeah.
Again, I think Washington should be proud because they actually competed, but definitely Michigan, it's in another level at this point.
Yeah.
They have many prospects also going to the draft, so that speaks about them, about the successful college that they are right now. Great coaching, right?
Yeah.
We can talk about that as well, but definitely it was a defining season for the team,
Yeah.
coming from something that hasn't happened since 1997. I guess it was the year the last
You
time
won,
that they
yeah,
won.
yeah, and for coaches Harbaugh's legacy, it's obviously gonna be tremendous for him to finally be a national champion, and
Yeah.
very well deserved because it was an incredible run this year for them. And again, it's the defense, and when you hear that they say defense wins championships, this is the clear example of that, because everything else was kind of like pretty close, right? But it was clearly a defensive incredible performance, especially close to the end of the game where you saw Penix Jr. having a lot of issues. He got pretty much he was playing injured, I believe, at the end of that
Yeah.
game because he was hurting a lot, right? Because he was under pressure, and again, it just felt overwhelming for that offense to deal with that defense, and I think that was the key factor for sure.
Yeah, I cannot disagree. I cannot disagree. Definitely, it was, and as you said, it defense win championships. Uh, it's something that I like about the game, and how dominant Michigan was the rushing part, because it's not normal to see a team like that, like rushing 300 yards in one single game in a final game. That's not normal,
Yeah.
and I guess it's even a bit vintage. That's what I like about Michigan and how they played the game. Definitely, it was something special to watch, and I enjoyed it, and I think it was a good final for the season.
Yeah. I also enjoyed it. I definitely had to say that I thought for certain periods of that game that things got a little tight. You know, it was like obviously it's a finals, right? It's a final game. You're playing for everything. You obviously put all of your efforts throughout the entire season, so you could tell the level of tension during moments of that game. But certainly well deserved for Michigan. Kudos to the Wolverines that ended the perfect season, obviously
Yeah.
with a perfect performance.
And now I guess everything's turning right to the NFL. Like all the
All the
flashes
attentions,
are
all the
going to the
lights.
NFL, and I think all the flashes are going also to the other Harbaugh brother, right? Like to see if they
Yes,
can make the one two, right?
indeed.
The two titles at the end of the football
What a
season.
family conversation will that be, huh?
Yeah.
Imagine both of them winning the same year national championships is that could be like crazy, right? Like,
Absolutely.
but yeah, that's what happened earlier this week with the college final, and it was exciting. It was great, but that's not the only exciting thing we have seen in the past couple of days. Like we said before, there has been a lot of action going on throughout the entire league. Now we're moving into the NFL. A lot of movements, especially outside of the actual field,
Yes.
on the sidelines. A lot of coaches getting fired, a lot of coaches retiring.
Some surprises as well.
A
For me,
hundred
at least,
percent.
I mentioned this off camera, right? For me, some surprises as well. So,
Some unexpected
s-
moves for sure. And yeah, we need to cover quite a few of them. And hopefully we're going to have enough time to cover all of them. And we can maybe start with the college one because
I guess, yeah, that would be good, right? To
yeah.
start
So,
with.
and what a an unexpected situation because I myself I was not expecting this to happen. Obviously, it's the type of coach that you see coming, like you see the end coming at some point. Because Nick Saban, we're talking about Nick Saban, of course.
Course,
You
of
guys know
course.
Alabama's coach for how was it it was
20,
20 something years,
20
right?
something
Like an
years.
entire career of 28 years for sure. That's pretty remarkable because it's not easy to coach for that long. So just starting from there, you know, it's crazy to think that somebody can sustain such level of greatness, such level of awesome performances and great
Seven.
coaching. Uh,
7 titles. I
seven
mean, for
total
me,
national
that's
titles.
like you can say anything you want about Saban, right? But when you see 7 titles, 7 rings, that definitely speaks
Greatest
by
of all
itself.
time.
Yeah,
It's
definitely. I
it's
mean,
what comes to mind.
in with different teams as well, right? Of course, the majority of them with Alabama, but LSU as well, right? So
Yep.
we have a coach that was capable of winning through his entire life as a
Yeah.
coach, right? And the seasons that he had, right? Because even when he didn't win, he was able to put the team at least in the final four or
Yeah, yeah. In
close
the
to it
position to potentially
to
win.
compete to
Yeah,
compete for the
for sure.
championship. So for me, that was amazing. It was an amazing career. Again, 7 titles. It's what you will remember. It's like talking about Jordan. You remember 6 rings,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
When you talk about Brian, you remember the 5 rings. So with coaches, it's not that normal. But when you see Saban, you see 6 rings in his hand, 7, sorry, rings
Seven.
in his
He
hand.
don't have enough
Yeah, exactly.
fingers.
It's like
Yeah,
you have to fit.
it's crazy. Yeah,
So it's definitely a legend we're talking about, and
it's 100% the greatest college football of all
yeah, for
time,
sure.
easily, and yeah, the numbers talk by themselves. It's 7 titles, like you said, national titles, 297 wins, fifth of all time, and that's an 80%
Win
win
percentage.
percentage throughout his career.
Yeah. He
And not
knows
only
about
that,
winning.
yeah, of course, right? Like he clearly can write probably like 7 different books about winning. And another impressive stat is that he got 40 plus first round picks sent into the NFL draft. And we're
Which
talking about players like Jalen Hurts, Tua, Mac Jones, Derrick Henry, Mark Ingram, Julio Jones, Amari Cooper. I mean, the list goes on and on. And all of these guys I just mentioned are potentially all of them superstars or
yeah,
stars in the league right now. And that speaks about not only his coaching ability, but also his GM mentality and how well he was able to develop players and develop talent and scout talent. Obviously, not only himself,
in
but obviously his entire
identify
team.
talent, I guess,
Yeah,
because yes, he of course he demonstrated that he's capable of developing that talent, but identifying the talent where somebody and sometimes even other people can see it. It's a gift, and he
it's a
definitely had
skill.
it. He still has it, I guess. If he wants to continue coaching, he can definitely do it.
Yeah,
Uh, I don't see why not, but definitely, of course, um, we will see him retire, of course, or we saw him retired, and we don't expect him to come back. I don't think he will
no, no,
come
I
back.
don't think so
I
because he
think he's the type of manager that like when
commits to the
I
decision.
yeah
Yeah,
when I'll leave, I'll leave.
yeah, yeah. And he said it on an interview later. I think it just came out today on ESPN as well, where he said that there's 2 major reasons why he decided that this was the time to leave, and one of them was just simply the all the young guys that were coming around, and the trends towards just starting to hire younger blood,
Mhm.
and that he was starting to feel like that old dude, right? Like that's what he kind of like implied in those. But at the same time, he said that this final season kind of got a little bit more out of him than the usual,
Mhm.
and that he kind of started to feel the tear, right? Like it's obviously a long career, and it's not easy to sustain the level of greatness that he did for such a long time. That demands a lot of energy, and clearly at some point your body is just gonna say, slow down.
Yeah, and it's a lot of pressure, right? They need or they must handle a lot of pressure.
Yep.
and it's not easy to handle that. And I think this is a great moment for him to leave through the big door, let's say, right?
Yep.
Um, with a lot of praise, right, and with a lot of
Yeah, yeah.
recognition as well from everybody, not just
Alabama
college
fans,
fans
yeah.
or Alabama fans, but for it's a manager that will get all the praise from everyone that it's involved in football,
And
in
even other
sports.
sports, yeah,
Exactly.
for
So
sure.
for me, it was a great timing for him, and we'll see what the future
Brings for
has
him,
for him.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Some folks are talking about him coming to TV broadcasting, but it seems like he's gonna help the team on the transition. That's part of what the expectation is. So he's gonna remain part of the Alabama um, structure somehow, maybe as an advisor for a little bit while they find a new coach or something. Like I guess that's probably gonna be part of his role as well. But yeah, exciting to see where he goes next. And yeah, kudos to Nick Saban, the greatest college football of all
All
time.
time, definitely.
And talking about greatest coaches of all time, that is not the only crazy news we received today, although there were rumors about this already in the past few weeks. But man, Bill Belichick's news broke today, and he parted ways with the Patriots.
Uh,
End of an era,
yeah, end
officially.
of an era, definitely for like it's starting. I guess it started a couple of years ago with the leave of Tom Brady from the franchise, but this is something that I personally was expecting, maybe not this year, but I was expecting him for him to leave eventually, 1 2 more years. I guess the season that he had didn't help him feel that he could do more with the team. I think he realized that this was it for him. That it was a moment for him to step aside and bring some new blood to the team as well. But definitely, we're talking about the greatest coach as well in the NFL. It's too many titles. It's not just the titles, but what he built around the Pats, a team that before 2000, I don't think anybody was actually a
Right.
fan of the Patriots. So what he was able to build, of course, along with one of the greatest again as well quarterbacks of all time, but what he was able to build, he
Yeah.
built a franchise for me. So that's something that it's not easy to do. It's something that it requires a lot of energy, a lot of intelligence, a lot of efforts, a lot of sacrifice as well. So for me, it's amazing what he was able to build um, in Foxborough, right? So definitely something that we will see as a good exit as well. I guess not maybe not the best, because I would like to see him living in a different way, not with a 217 something like that record, right? But definitely a defining moment for the franchise as well, to see how they can turn the page as well after 24 years.
Yeah. 24 years, 6 Super Bowls, 9 total Super Bowl appearances, 17 division titles, 266 against 120 his record, and he is 15 wins away from the total win record,
Mm-hmm.
just behind Don Shula, 30-12 postseason record. So it's just crazy. Like those numbers are crazy. A 68% win rate as well in his career, and that's again, it just speaks a little bit about his greatness. Like you said, he won it all. He built a dynasty that, in my opinion, is never gonna be replicated again.
I don't think so.
And I will even challenge whoever, like all of you Tom Brady fans out there, like Tom Brady would not be what he is or what he became or ended up being as a player without Bill Belichick, and vice versa. Bill
Vice
Belichick
versa.
will not be the coach he is without Tom Brady. We all understand that they were perfect for each other while that was there,
I
while
guess.
they were together. And if you look back to all of those years, I think one of the biggest things that came to my mind when I saw the news is how close and how many defining moments in all of those years these two were together that could have gone the other way around. Like all so many crucial
Moments.
moments and individual plays that changed the entire history of the Super Bowls that they won. And again, his mindset, his defensive greatness as a coach, and how he was able to dominate because of the level of details and how he cared about analyzing every single aspect of the game was so remarkable, right? Because of course the partnership was perfect because Tom Brady was taking care of the offensive side of the ball. He was a brilliant mind. He was obviously the greatest quarterback of all time as well, and he took care of that. Bill Belichick took care of everything else. And even as a GM, which is one of the things that everybody criticized about him in the recent years, you can argue that he was phenomenal for many, many years, especially on the defensive end, drafting great secondary players for that team to succeed. And he was able to adjust, maybe not crazy much to the style of game we're seeing today in the NFL. He is still stayed loyal to his own style for many years and up until these final couple seasons. But he definitely reinvented certain positions, certain things like the slot position, the receivings, like in the wide receivers. It that defined like it was crazy how effective this slot partnership or plays or just focusing on that, it paid off for them for so many years, and everybody started replicating that, of course, because they won so much out of it. And again, so many great things to talk about Bill Belichick. And the good thing is that it seems like he's not done, and I wouldn't think he's done because obviously he is just, again, like we said, 15 wins away from the record. So I will imagine he's gonna look up for some coaching opportunities out there, and I bet that there is teams that would love to have him.
Of course, of course. I guess we have, and we can go through the teams as well, right? And we can make a bet, right, on where he's going to land. But for me, it's time for him to retire as well. Like,
Really?
I don't want to be disrespectful, but I think his methodology is at this point, it's kind of hard to fit for him into the new NFL. Um, that's my perspective. Of course, many of you might think that he must stay and go for the record and maybe coach 2 3 more years, something like that. But it's the same that I mentioned about Saban before. You need to know when to leave along with greatness. And of course he's great. He's, again, we mentioned it, probably the greatest of all time. Some names might appear there as well, right? Um, but definitely you need to know how to leave or when to leave. And for me, it's the time for him to leave. Even more after building such a successful franchise, he built a team. That's for me something that it will be impressive every time I think about it. Um, However, I think it's the moment for him to leave. We have in as you mentioned, he has a very unique methodology, and it was successful. But I think that there is a point where the evolution gets you, right? And I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
this
for
is the
sure.
moment
If you don't
where,
adjust, of course, you're gonna be
and I
left
don't think
behind.
he's willing to adjust. That's the thing. I don't think he's willing to adjust to the new way
But
football
is
is
that
played.
a negative thing though?
It's not
Altogether, like,
negative. It's not negative, but I feel
because
he,
let's think about the teams that could benefit from his style. And I'm gonna just throw this one out there because it could be an interesting fit for them. Let's think about Philadelphia, for instance. This team has struggled so much this year because of the defense, right? Their defense sucks. Like it's just what it is. It just sucks.
It is like that. Yeah.
They need somebody that can come in potentially, and I'm not saying Nick Sirianni is gonna get fired or anything like that, but maybe, let's talk hypotheticals here. They lose in the first round against the Bucks this coming weekend. Maybe the Eagles.
bed.
Okay, well, we'll talk about that later. Spoiler alert. But this is hypothetical. They
Yeah,
lose to the Bucks, right? Maybe the Eagles start questioning if Sirianni needs to stay or needs to leave, right? If they want to keep him. The struggles they had could potentially be solved by Bill Belichick and his culture. Because he obviously he's gonna have Jalen Hurts. That offense is still pretty good, right? Like it's a pretty explosive, or could be a pretty explosive offense whenever they want. So they're
It's
aging,
not the style
right?
he likes, right?
For sure, no.
not
But
the
but,
style he
all
likes.
I'm saying is that it could be an interesting fit because what he can bring to that organization is what they currently lack, right? There is going to be a lot of things that will have to change to adjust to his style for sure. But if what they lack right now is what he can bring to the table, it's an interesting idea.
It would be an interesting idea. However, I don't think the team, how it's built right now, it's something that fits to Bill's Belichick methodology again. I think
Yeah,
it's not because
but this is
the
the deal.
offense part, more in the offense part, because he's not a fan of that type of quarterback as Julian Hurts.
Yeah, first of all, he is more of a defensive coach, right? Like
exactly. But
obviously
then
we understand that.
you're not gonna have a Tom Brady.
Of course, nobody is going to be
Right.
Tom Brady ever again.
Exactly.
But I'll give you this: like at the end of the day, obviously we understand that coaching comes to the staff that you have, right? Like there's going to be an offensive coordinator, and there is going to be an entire team behind you. What if we say, well, Bill Belichick is going to again come into the organization and bring all of his culture, everything, but he is going to try to focus on fixing the problems that are on the defensive side of the ball, and then he is going to have a team behind him that will be able to adjust and will be able to put all the other efforts around building the type of offensive style that will please him, right? But what I'm saying is that what if he kind of handles a little bit of the offensive side of the ball to his team, and then he focus on just polishing or just whatever, removing the issues that they have on the defensive side. I know that doesn't sound like Bill Belichick, but what if, right? What if just because of the record,
it would be a good move.
aspect.
It would be a good move
and
for
the
both.
winning chances as well? Because again, Philadelphia has been there really close in recent years, right? Like, is again they have a team that can,
They have an amazing team.
they can instantly compete, right? And they're competing again. We're talking hypotheticals. They lose. They think about changing the coach. All right, let's not think this is literal. I'm just saying that could be an interesting fit. How about the Raiders? Obviously, with Tom Brady now being an investor there, I know again it could be the reunion. You know, like
I don't think they ended up their relationship in good terms. At the end, I don't think it was the best of the relationships.
I know, but
I think it was
but
a
they-
bit toxic
but
as well.
Of
so-
course, but that toxicity was part of the reason why they ended up winning so much. So what if Tom Brady? I know he's not a part of the front office. I know he's not a player anymore. But what if Tom starts trying to pitch in the idea of bringing him in? The Raiders are trying to figure out their coaching thing as well. And again, this style, we can go on and on about. I mean, I don't think anybody has, other than the Patriots, the style that Bill Belichick had, and that's pretty clear.
Yeah.
So whatever he goes, he's gonna have to kind of like rebuild the whole thing a little bit, or maybe more than in one places than others. But all I'm saying is a lot of things are gonna be interested on his services because he's still great. It seems like he still wants to continue coaching.
He wants to continue. I mean, it was very clear during the press conference.
Right.
He's like, "Yes, I'm saying bye. Like, I wish you the best, but I'll move on."
I think although you said it before, I think it ended kind of in a classy way. Like nothing went too wrong about it. I think he was shown the doors without him really or truly wanting the doors to be shown at him. Like again, I think he's in his mind. What would have been perfect is just simply to stay there, try to get the record, try to continue winning if possible, and then leave. Like I think that would have been the perfect scenario,
Probably that was the plan. As well.
right?
But it was not. It was not. And I think, yes, you mentioned a couple of good teams. Again, for the Eagles, it would be a good match for them as well. It would be good for Belichick because he wouldn't have to come to a franchise and build a team,
Yeah,
which is something that with some of the teams that
That are
are
looking-
managerless
Yeah.
right now, I don't think that's the case.
yep.
And probably the one that comes to mind right now would be a team like Tennessee, probably that they have a good structure. I know we have some people living there, important people living there, but there might have some good structure for him as well, with good draft picks as well coming
Yeah.
this year. For me, that would be a good fit as well. But again, I don't.
Yeah, the
I don't
ultimate
want
question.
to see him going to a team.
The ultimate question is going to be that, right? If he wants to go to a team that is already established in regards of talent and opportunities to win, or if he is willing to go to a rebuild type of a scenario where he grabs the team and he does whatever he wants for that team, right?
I would like him to prove me wrong, but I think it's time to leave again. I don't see him like
I still think,
adapting,
like,
yeah, to a
let's
new
let's agree to
type-
disagree.
type of franchise,
I'm 1-0
right?
already. My Wolverines won, so I'm starting the year with the right foot
Yeah,
here.
I know,
I'm
I know.
saying
We'll
Bill
see how it
Belichick is
goes.
gonna coach. Okay, next year somewhere. I've heard that the Falcons are also in the look for him. I think they're gonna be interested on his services.
That would be amazing for them. That would
It
be
would be
amazing.
amazing, but the problem with the Falcons is that they don't have a quarterback.
They need to rebuild again.
They don't have the
Again,
quarterback.
they also have a good draft pick. Right?
They have great assets. But they don't have a quarterback. And the problem with that is that they don't have a nice draft pick to potentially get one of the top quarterbacks this year,
That's right.
could be a problem.
That's right. But we'll see how it goes with Belichick. Again, I would love him to
He
retire.
needs
This
to
is the
get that
moment.
record, brother. I'm telling you, it's like if LeBron James would have retired, like 500 points away from Kareem's record. Okay, that would have been crazy to think. I think he has it within reach, and it's just a couple of seasons, maybe one
I
that
don't
is.
think he needs the record. That's it for
Of
me.
course,
I don't,
of course, he doesn't need it.
Right?
He doesn't need
But
it.
I know records are
They're gonna.
know,
it's
they're there
yeah.
just to be
they're,
broken,
They're
but-
to be taken for sure. But yeah, Bill Belichick again parting ways with the Patriots. News that broke just today, and we'll see what the future has to say for Belichick and his career moving forward. Another one of the moves that we saw with the coaches is Pete Carroll. That also,
which was my surprise.
yeah,
I was not expecting it. Definitely not.
So yeah, Pete Carroll is no longer the coach of the Seattle Seahawks, and that not
He
only
will stay with the team though.
that's
he
what
will
they're
stay
saying.
with the
That's
team.
what they're saying. But I'll imagine that he will take some interviews here and there, because there are coaches that I mean there are teams again that are looking for a coach, and these tenure guys, even though they're old school or whatever you want to say, they could bring a lot of like winning DNA into the equation. Because I mean, both
They know.
Belichick and Pete Carroll have won in the past. So in the right scenario, in the right situation, I wouldn't be surprised if Pete Carroll ends up taking a different job
Yeah.
eventually.
Yeah, after 14 years, right, for him, coaching Seattle. Um, Again, he's thinking about moving to a different part of the team, right, with a different more
Yeah.
as an advisor of the
Mm-hmm.
team. Yes, he might listen to some offers, some interviews, but I don't think he will come back. At least not now. I think his place right now or his mind's with the team to help the team, uh,
Transition into the
with the
next. Yeah.
transition with like building a strong team. His mind's in there. I don't think he will coach next year. I'm not saying he won't coach in the future, right? Probably in 2 3 more years, probably we'll see him back coaching. But I don't think he will do it next year
Well,
for
we'll see
sure.
what happens, but it was a quite an impressive run that he had, obviously with Seattle. 14 years there, 11 out of 14 of those years were winning records.
Hmm.
A Super Bowl champion, 137 wins for a 60% win rate, which is the highest in the franchise history as well,
Hmm.
by the way. And another interesting thing that I just was thinking about earlier today within my old fantasies in my head is what if he maybe gets a job somewhere else where they are looking for a quarterback and he starts thinking about reuniting with Russell Wilson.
Well, I guess let's make a pause, right? Because this is the sporting burst, so we need to talk about other sports as well. We have plenty of topics to cover, as we mentioned at the beginning. So let's go with our buzzer beaters.
Buzzer beaters.
Yes, so we have a lot of topics to cover, as I mentioned. So Dylan, tell me, what do we have for
Yeah,
today?
a lot of exciting news, as we mentioned before. So the first thing we want to cover today is Kawhi Leonard's contract extension, because that seems to be a great news, especially for Clippers fans. Kawhi Leonard signing a 3-year, 153 million extension with the
A
Clippers to
lot of
stay
money.
there. A lot of money. We all wish we can earn 50 million per year.
Yeah, yeah. I just need 1 year. That's it. That's it.
Give us
That's
one
all I
year.
need. That's all I ask.
Give me the 15-day contract, whatever tryout, like for 1 million. I'll take
Yeah.
it. I don't know. I don't even know if that's possible. But yeah, the interesting thing about this contract is that is not reaching the max extension for him. So they are leaving some room. And I guess obviously they discussed and negotiated this with Kawhi himself so that they can maneuver around things with the other contracts that they will have to deal with, including Paul George, potentially Harden. We'll see what happens with Russ. So if they want to keep this core together, they need to be very smart with how they handle the money. And I think they nailed it by leaving some room for other contracts right there.
Yeah, I think it was a bold decision for them. I mean, it's the type of decisions that Clippers normally make, right? It's what they are used to. It normally it doesn't go the way they are
Yeah.
expecting to go. So I know it's a risky decision. However, I think taking a look at the roster that they have right now, right? They have Paul, right, and they have
Harden, Russ, yeah, they have a
Harden, they
nice.
have Russell, right? So I guess if they want to keep that core together, that might be beneficial. However, I don't see Kawhi Leonard right now as the player he used to be. So that's my biggest concern. Let's see how it goes for him again. But I know he might be, if he stays healthy, then he might be a good player.
More than just a good
More
player.
than
He's a
just a
super.
good
When he's
player,
healthy, he's a
but he
superstar.
proved that just for some maybe 3 4 years. And then with the Clippers, he hasn't delivered yet.
Of course,
He's
we can
still
all agree with
pending.
that.
He's
Yeah,
still
he owns then that
has
great
that. Yeah.
run for sure. But I think again, it's interesting that they handle this early in the season. I mean, in the season, because this can be also part of, or just become a new reason for Kawhi to stay motivated and continue to play at the level that he's playing, because obviously he's now securing his bag. He's gonna get the money. He doesn't have to worry about that. He can focus entirely on staying healthy, playing the best basketball that he can play. Because if you're a fan of the sport, I'm not a fan of the Clippers, okay? I'm a Lakers fan, so I wouldn't want the Clippers to do good. But if you're a fan of the sport, you want to see Kawhi Leonard and every other superstar play at the highest level possible just for
And
the sake of the
succeed. Yeah.
sport.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's what he can now focus on. One less thing to worry about, which is money, and now he can focus on basketball entirely. Or he
doesn't
should.
have to. He doesn't have to worry about the money, of course. I don't think he had to worry about the money, but well, that's another topic,
Of
right?
course, well,
That's another topic.
Who knows?
However, yes, I mean, I guess the contract is paying what he's supposed to get paid. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yes, and I guess he's doing the sacrifice, right? To
Couple million less.
yeah, to make sure that he can bring the rest of the core that he wants around him
Yeah.
to the team next year or for the upcoming years, and try to build something out of that, something probably a good, I don't know if that's the word, but a good dynasty or something like that. If everything goes well,
If they
for them,
start winning,
as I
'cause
mentioned,
that's the crucial.
and they're winning, as of
But
now,
winning the real
winning
thing,
when matters,
winning the chips,
right?
which is what.
And
Yeah.
that's something we'll see how it goes against for the again for the Clippers. Hopefully for them and for Clippers fans, because I'm not a Clipper fan as well. But hopefully for them it will pay this time. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
It better.
It's
It better
a bet.
pays off.
It's a bet that they're doing.
It's always a bet when we talk about Kawhi Leonard, because of his recent history and all the injuries that he has dealt with in the past. So hopefully this doesn't play against him, because as well as it could be motivation for him to stay focused, it could also be the opposite. And now that he has the money secure, he could maybe relax a little bit. Maybe he was playing at this level because he wanted the extension. Who knows what was going on
Who
through
knows?
his head? He is a
Yeah.
competitor. We can all agree on that. And I think he still wants to win. That should be his focus and his priority. So again, I think it's a positive thing overall for the Clippers.
No,
That
and-
it's
and I'm-
the starting step towards keeping this core together.
Exactly, and I'm pretty sure he wants more rings in his hand.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Who doesn't want more rings?
Yes,
brother?
of course. But yeah, I guess it was a good move for him as well. So
Yeah.
we'll see if it pays off
Yeah.
for the both of them.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. But apart from that, we also saw another contract extension, which was
Very
pretty juicy. Eric Spoelstra
Yes.
signed a new contract extension as a coach, 8 years, $120 million for a coach, which I believe, if I read correctly, makes him the highest paid coach through that extension as
Wow.
well. So well deserved. We understand that he had a great run when LeBron was there. They built a dynasty as well there, and I think he's still one of the best coaches in the
Yeah, I
entire
mean,
sport.
The Heat the last years as well. I mean, great team.
He has
and-
overachieved with some of these units. Yes, for sure, because
And
they
with
have
some limitations as well.
yeah, exactly. And the past obviously couple of years with the core they built, again, you wouldn't expect that team to stay competing at the level they competed the past couple of seasons, the bubble included, where
Yes.
they went to the finals, ended up losing to the Lakers, but they remain a highly competitive team. The culture that he has built, obviously alongside with the front office, has been remarkable, and it seems like they're aiming to continue this thing for upcoming years.
Yes, I mean, how many you mentioned? 8 years,
8
right?
years.
8 years. That's a long contract. That's a long contract in this business. It's not normal to see a contract that long. Not with a coach, not with the player. We all know what
Yeah.
happens, right? Of course, he doesn't have the risk of getting injured, right?
For sure.
And not playing for an
Yeah.
entire season, things like that. It's not that common. That doesn't really happen with coaches, but it's still it's a long contract. I guess it's paying as well all the faith that he has built, right? That he
Yeah.
has bring to the team, right? And the confidence that the front office has basically
On
on the
his
way
job.
that he
Yeah.
can deliver as a coach. He has earned that definitely, but still, I mean, 8 years for a coach,
Yeah, yeah,
that's a long
and he
contract.
continues to deliver even today. They're still competing.
Yeah.
They're still building something interesting for this current season. So kudos to Eric Spoelstra for his contract extension. On other news, we mentioned this a little bit on the previous episode. Draymond Green is finally coming back. So he's getting closer and closer to returning to playing. And he came out and gave some interesting declarations the other day on his own. I guess it was kind of on his own podcast episode. So yeah, he's coming back. The Warriors, we talked about it the other day, need him greatly because his game has a different level of impact. We understand the type of player he is, how great he has been for them, and on facilitating things for Steph, for Clay, running the offense through them a lot of the times. Through him a lot of the times, and the Warriors are not looking great. So they could help. They
Definitely
could
not.
use whatever help they can get at this point in the season.
Yes, yes. We'll see because for me, Draymond. I mean, the Draymond that I've seen this season is not the one that we're used to see. Of course, yes, he's tough sometimes. He's competitive. He's a competitor, right? So I know sometimes he goes a little bit over the line and things like that. But this year precisely, I think it was crazy what
Yeah.
was going on with him.
Yeah, he was more Draymond than he should have, I guess.
Exactly.
And I guess
Exactly.
the question at the same time becomes that can he beat Draymond
Again,
without being that much of a Draymond Green that we know and we have
the
seen
one that
recently?
we want to see, right?
Yeah.
The Draymond that it's able to play great basketball, that it's able to deliver defensively, offensively as well. The one that it's able to, to be a key
Yeah,
part
he's
of the Warriors.
certainly a key piece. He is the motor of
Of
that
yeah,
team. He's the engine, literally, of that team. Like
of
I
a
said,
team that is falling apart
yeah.
as of now.
By the
Like,
way, yeah,
you
they're struggling.
you see them play, and definitely you see Clay struggling throughout the whole season. You see Steph also
Getting frustrated.
something that
Yeah.
it's not normal for him, right? I know he's used to, in the whole team, the whole franchise is used to winning, right? They
Yep.
got used to winning, to playing great basketball, great offense normally, right? But they're falling apart, and I know he's frustrated, but he's still not playing what he's supposed to play, right? Because
Yeah,
what I would
harder for
expect from
him.
him is to be the leader of the team as well, right? And for what we see on the court, it's not what it looks like. I don't see Steph like taking the team in his shoulder and taking them to
Yeah.
where they're supposed to be, right? Because they still have great players. I mean, it's not that Clay, it's an average player. He's not. Steph's not an average player, right? We have some good young blood around them as well. But they're definitely falling apart.
And I
It
think
was surprising for
I
me.
think
To be
that's
honest.
part of the key of why, right? Like you mentioned the young core that, or all the young talent that they have tried to develop in the past few years, and it hasn't worked. We saw what happened with Jordan Poole leaving the team. We saw Wiseman getting traded last year. So it seems like all of the draft picks and all the young people that was supposed to come and just refresh the whole thing haven't delivered, and I think that's one of the biggest problems, right? Wiggins is not playing at the level we saw him playing when they won the title a couple of years ago. So I think the Warriors will have to shake things up, regardless of how or what happens with Draymond Green, how he plays. I think they will still not have enough weapons, enough of a team to compete and go for a deep run this year. We'll see. They have done impressive things in the past, of course, and they could turn things around pretty quickly if they catch fire. We know how great they can be, but it's going to require extra effort with this group as it is established today to transcend this season.
Yeah, and I read today something about the players losing trust on Steve Kerr as well. I mean,
That's
that's kind of
ridiculous.
like gossip, of course.
But that's ridiculous. Like,
I mean, it would be ridiculous after all they have built together, of course. But it can also happen, right? If you have a locker room that it's divided, then it might happen.
yeah.
And we saw it at the beginning of the season, right? Some problems there between Clay and Draymond as well, and some. I mean, probably carrying out the same problem that Draymond has had in the past, like that we're talking about the reason of the suspension. But I mean, could be also.
Yeah,
mean-
yeah. Oh, of course.
I
when
mean,
things
for me, it
start
would
go-
be
like,
ridiculous, of
wh-
course. But
when things
could
starts
be.
going wrong, obviously somebody's gonna have to get the blame, and or at least a part of the blame.
Yeah.
And obviously, we have seen declarations and people talking about Steph's leadership and whether or not he should be criticized because of how things are being handled with Draymond Green and all of this, and where he has been in all this, right? But Steph, we all know, is a different type of leader for that franchise and that team. He's gonna lead through his play. He's gonna lead through his sample. He's not necessarily gonna be a vocal leader that is gonna call you out in front of a camera or something like that.
Yeah.
Who knows what happens behind scenes? But yeah, if they want to turn things around, again, they all have to go back to their roots. They all have to go back to what they were good at or great or even godlike type of level that they are sometimes in their own role. And if that happens, they might be able to turn things around. But
Yeah.
we'll see what happens with
They're
the
on time.
Warriors.
They're
Yeah,
on time.
they still can do something and put it together. Hopefully they do, because again, whenever they're playing great, we see great plays, we see great highlights, and it's exciting to see the Splash
Again,
Brothers and
for
obviously
sports fans,
Draymond as well.
it's always nice to see good basketball. So
Yeah.
they're able to deliver in that way. So
Yeah, so we'll see again. Moving on, Battle of Forces. Very recently, a couple days ago, we saw a great game between the top two teams in the NBA. We're talking about, and yes, brace yourselves because this is not normal, is the Timberwolves,
Timberwolves.
who are the first seed right now, or the first team in the Western Conference. And they faced Boston in the TD Garden right there in Boston a couple of nights ago, and it was an exciting game. It went OT. Boston ended up winning. So we talked about it the other day. Boston
Is it a
seems to be-
preview? Is it a preview of the finals
Nah.
this year?
Come on,
You don't see it?
there's no way. There's no
I
way
mean-
the Timberwolves doesn't fall apart
I
at some
mean-
point.
We're talking about the NBA.
No, but this is the thing. This is the thing with these teams. Okay, we saw what happened last year with Sacramento.
Yeah.
I think the Timberwolves are the Sacramento of this year's season. You can maybe tell me that they have a better, much stronger core because obviously they have Cat, they have Gobert, they have Edwards, which by the way is a baller. Like he plays like crazy.
Yeah.
Huge fan of his game. But I just don't think they can sustain this for the entire season. Maybe they do through the regular season because there is always a regular season champion or something every year, and especially in the Western Conference Finals. We see this often, right? Again, we saw it last year with Sacramento playing great basketball during the regular season and then ended up falling short. I think the Timberwolves are gonna go through the same thing. So I don't believe this is an NBA matchup.
Yeah, I
for
mean,
the
I
finals.
still believe Denver will get there. For me, this year it's also Denver getting to the finals.
We'll see.
Uh,
We'll see. We'll see what happens with Denver. We'll see.
yeah, but as of now, I don't see a team that can challenge in a 7 game
I don't like saying this, okay? And we talk
series.
about them already. But
Yeah.
careful with the Clippers. They could make a strong case for going
Yes,
into the
but the
Western Conference
Clippers will
Finals at
be the
least.
Clippers until they prove us wrong.
Yeah,
You
and
know?
I think that's exactly what happens then
Yeah.
with the Timberwolves, right? Like we don't know that they can play at that level when
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
we get
I
into the
get it.
postseason.
But they haven't had the chance as the Clippers, for example, because they have had the chance in the past and they blew it. So we'll see. I mean, basketball it's an interesting sport. Anything can happen in a 7 game
Yeah.
series. Anything can happen. So I was just asking because I'm not. It's not because I'm rooting for them, right? Again, I'm more with Denver right now. And for sure, I guess the Celtics will have to go through the box probably. I guess.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with Philly as well. It's always in the discussion.
Phillies, yeah,
The
as
the
well.
the,
But it would
the
be interesting. I mean, I don't like the fact that I would see the Celtics in the finals, but it would be interesting. I'm just saying that's my
well,
thought.
if Jason Tatum continues to play the way he is playing, especially in this last game
Yeah.
against the Timberwolves, he dropped 45 points, and he could potentially become one of those MVP candidates at some point this year.
Yeah.
We'll see. I don't think he is in that conversation right now, but he clearly is the best player on that team.
Mm-hmm.
And we know that Boston has everything they truly need to
Yeah.
win the title this year, maybe even years to come, because they have a young court.
No.
And we don't see that. We don't want to see it. Okay. But
No.
it's just a reality. We have to be objective.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we'll see what happens with Boston and the Timberwolves, and if they end up being the first seeds on each conference or not.
And-
Yeah.
yeah.
And then finally, on NBA discussions, we saw a little impressive thing yesterday as well. Wembayama became the youngest center with a triple double.
What can we say about him that hasn't been said before? You know, like this young guy, it's definitely taking things to the next level, above all expectations. Because I mean, we already had high expectations when he came, right
Yeah.
in the draft and in playing for San Antonio. Uh, but definitely he has managed to go over those expectations.
At least the
in a
short time
good
expectations,
way.
right? Like short time
Yeah, I
expectations,
mean,
because obviously we understand that the
it's-
Spurs are just bad. Like they're
Yeah,
bad, but
yeah.
he is delivering what was expected for him.
I
early
guess a bit
on.
more because he's going a little bit more beyond what's expected.
Yeah, he's showing his
Of course,
character as a potential
sport,
leader.
this sport is about consistency. We've seen it with great players through time, right? Some good players have come and go very quick, 1 year, 2 years.
Yeah.
We have plenty examples to go over. The ones that remain are the ones that become legends, right? And we know that. But this guy is showing very nice things.
Yeah, he could be the
Um,
face of the league
Triple double.
eventually.
I mean, that's impressive, and he has the physical capabilities to make.
Yeah,
it
yeah,
as
yeah.
well.
He has all the
If he
skill
still,
set.
if he stays healthy, we're seeing a good career, good player.
More than good. I think if he
No,
stays
thank
healthy, if they can build some good teams around him, again, he
Yeah.
could potentially end up in the discussion of great players of all time. Like maybe not at the level of these guys right here, like Michael
No,
Jordan
no.
or the LeBrons, or but who knows? Who knows? We never know. It could be a long career ahead of him if he stays healthy again. And yeah, nothing but the best, because we want to see the best basketball possible.
Of course.
And so stay away of injuries, please, Wemby. And
That's all
talking
I ask.
about injuries before we move into the next section, One that I almost forgot. Jamarant got injured, and it's a
Yes.
season-ending injury as well. So it seems like Memphis aspirations, if there were any this year, are completely gone after that. So yeah, hopefully Jack comes back strong because we know the type of talent and how incredible his game is.
Yeah.
And so after this injury, next year, hopefully they come back stronger and we get to see more of Jamoran. But for now, his season is over, unfortunately.
Yes.
But I think that's about it in regards of NBA action. Of course, we're gonna keep talking more about NBA, all the basketball and the regular season action in more episodes in the future. We have to go back to football because we are heading into one of the most exciting and potentially crazy weekends that we
Weekends.
normally see in the season. This time, this postseason, of course, and we're talking about divisional
Wild card.
rounds. I mean, wild
Wild
card.
card
Yeah,
round.
I'm
Yeah.
going ahead of myself. Pardon me.
Yeah,
Okay,
you're
wild
just
cards.
1 week
I'm
ahead.
I'm
That's
just
it.
skipping episodes already. Like, just get me to the Super Bowl. I want to see the Ravens and the Niners go at it. Wait, hold on. I'm going
Wait,
again.
wait,
Hold on, those
wait,
predictions are for the future.
Wait,
No,
yes, yes. It's
Uh,
not time for that. Let's go with the wild card round first.
yeah. So
So,
yeah, we have
who do
AFC
you
and
want to
NFC.
start with?
Let's start with the NFC. Should we?
Yeah,
Or you prefer
we
the
can go,
AFC?
yeah. No. I mean, for me, it's okay. We
NFC.
can-
Well, we know the Niners are gonna be the bye week. I mean, the bye team. And then we have three very interesting games. So we go with Packers at Dallas. What do you
Very
think about that?
interesting. Interesting match. I mean, it all comes down to Dak Prescott, um, and his ability to deliver with the Cowboys. I guess at this point, this is a great match. Of course, great rivalry. We'll see which Dak. Which Dak Prescott, right?
Hmm.
For me it's about that. I mean, if he's the one that's been delivering through the whole season, we'll see Dallas moving to the next round definitely. But if we see the Dak Prescott that we used to be, or that we used to see during postseason, then probably if we see the Packers offensive part delivering, we might see, or we might get a surprise there. Uh, I'm not expecting that, to be honest, but I do see the Dallas Cowboys as the I do see the Dallas Cowboys as the strongest team as of now in this matchup, at least. Uh, but it all comes down to Dak Prescott. For me, that's it.
Okay, so you taking Dallas on this one.
I'm taking Dallas. Dallas. Sorry, I actually think it's gonna be in my prediction.
Yeah, what's the
the
score looking like? Uh-huh.
Yeah, would be 38 Dallas, 27 the Packers.
Okay,
Right?
okay,
We'll
okay.
see.
So I'm obviously taking the Cowboys as well. They are the better team.
Yeah.
They have the better defense, which is a pretty impressive one. And if you think about it, and I think we mentioned this also in the past episode, the Packers are a very young team.
Yeah.
And we understand and we know that when we have young teams in the postseason, normally the most experienced ones are handling the business easier. So I think Dallas should fairly walk over the Packers. I still think the Packers will compete, of course, but I think this score is going to be 34-14 Dallas to win this, especially because I think that even if Dallas defense doesn't get points, which is pretty weird, they normally end up getting some
Yeah.
sort of
Mhm.
point out of the other team just with their defense. But even if they don't, I think they can still win this pretty easily.
Yeah, I mean, they have the team to do it. And again, I mean, for me, Dallas, uh, again, not a Cowboys fan, but Dallas definitely has proven to be a great team during the whole season. They were consistent. They had a couple of tough losses, against I can remember right now, maybe one against the Eagles, the first match against the Niners as well. It was tough for them to face the Lions. And I know the majority of the games they won were against teams under 500.
Yeah, bad
uh,
teams.
yes, but they have great defense, and we talked about this when we started the episode today, right? When we talked about Michigan, great defense can make the difference. So we'll see how it goes for Dallas, but definitely I would expect them to move on easily,
Yeah.
and I'm taking a risk saying that, but let's say easily.
Yeah, yeah. But we all know how it goes when it comes to Dallas. They are always due to some sort of bad game at some point. And we'll see if this is this time. Hopefully not, because I'm taking them. So let's try to keep that perfect record. And next, we have the Rams going to Detroit.
Yes, great game we have ahead. For I mean, it's the return of Matthew Stafford back to Detroit and Jared Goff playing against his old team,
Yep.
right? So I guess this is going to be one of those matches that you don't want to miss. Definitely good, a good running offense for the Rams, a good offense, of course, for the Lions as well, right? So, yeah, I think we are expecting a lot out of this game as well.
Yeah, I think it's one of the closest games to predict from the whole list,
Yes.
and potentially one of the most exciting ones to see because of that same reason. Like you said, Stafford and Goff, both really good quarterbacks. And I would say I was checking.
Experience as well.
Yeah, both of them experiences in the play and in the playoffs, but also in the Super Bowl, in the
Yes.
playoffs, postseason, whatever you want to call it. Too many sports in my head. Okay, so and I was checking a little bit of the statistics the other day, which were posted. I can't remember where, but I just saw an image that Stafford and Goff were pretty much identical in regards of the statistics
Mm-hmm.
since they got traded. The amount of touchdowns, the amount of the percentage, the passing rate, like a lot of things were pretty similar. So I think it's a pretty even. I will still take Stafford ahead of Goff. If you were to ask me, I think Stafford's arm, it's pretty elite. But I don't think that's where the game comes down to. I think
Mm-hmm.
it's also going to be one of those games that could be heavily decided by defense. And I think I will give the edge to the Rams on that category
Oh
specifically.
wow. Okay.
Led by obviously Aaron Donald, and the pass rush could put Goff in danger. So I think if the defense for the Rams plays good or even great, the Rams are going to take this game. So I'm taking the Rams because of that. They have, like you said, a couple of explosive weapons offensively speaking. We talked about the rookie Nakua the other day,
Yes.
him breaking the record. So another target that Stafford can look up for. Not only Cup this year, and their rushing is also good. Again, not a knock on the Lions, who have had a great season, and probably many of you will go with them. But I'm taking
I've
I'm taking the
I've
Rams
seen
here.
yeah I've seen a lot of people going against the Lions. They still don't trust the Lions. I do trust the Lions. The Lions that I saw playing against the Cowboys, for me, those Lions are moving ahead on this matchup. Um, they they delivered when they were supposed to. They played against a really good defense, the Cowboys defense. We just
Yeah.
talked about it, and they were able to make it happen, right? With good running, with good passing, right? A good
Yeah.
mixture in the table. I know they're facing a good defense, as you mentioned as well from the Rams. But I still believe in the Lions.
Yeah.
They will move ahead. Actually, my prediction comes to the kicker in this game.
Okay.
So
That's interesting.
I would go with a 26-23 for the Lions on this
Okay.
one.
We both have close games for this one, 24-21. In my case, Rams taking it. So yeah, we'll see what happens. It seems like one of the most exciting and interesting matches
Yes.
for the upcoming weekend. All of them are, of course, but again, this seems to be really close. And yeah, I'm just trying to be a little bit adventurous here because the
Yeah,
obvious,
yeah.
kind of like I always say that the obvious pick is Detroit because of the year they're having. The Rams are
I don't
not.
know. I mean, I've seen a lot of different shows, right? And people's not
It's a
trusting.
50
They're
50
not
kind of.
trusting the Lions.
Yeah,
Yet.
yeah.
You know, and I understand why. I mean, this is the first time the Lions will have a home playoff game since I was born.
And that's a
Since
long time ago, let me tell you.
1993. So
Yeah.
imagine that. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
know
yeah.
why, but still, I mean, they're a great team. They proved to be a great team during the regular season. So
Yeah,
that's
for
why.
sure. And the reason I'm also taking the Rams is because they have been playing recently great. So
Yeah.
we talk about this as well with the Bills the other day. They caught fire at the right time, and I think the Rams are the same kind of on the same page. They have been winning lately, and again, let's see what happens. But
Let's see.
I have my money on
Yeah.
the Rams this time. And moving on, last game of the NFC, Eagles Bucks.
I want to see the Eagles lose here.
For real?
Honestly, I want to see the Eagles losing here, and it's not just that I want to see them. I believe they will lose.
Okay.
Yes, I mean, I know many people might say it's the Eagles, but it's not the Eagles that we saw during the first part of the season. It's not the 10-1 Eagles. It's the what, like 1-6 Eagles that closed the season. Um they have some injuries there as well that might
Yeah.
affect them as well. And I see the Bucks going with a quarterback that I personally didn't trust before, but has proved me wrong a little bit during the regular season. He still have some things to prove, but that pride might take him where the Bucks need to go. So I might see I'm rooting for the Buccaneers to overcome the Eagles in this matchup. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I think the level of urgency for the Eagles to prove everybody wrong, it's gonna be a factor here, and so that's one of the reasons why I'm taking the Eagles here.
But he can play
There is a lot of pressure.
in favor,
Yes.
but also against you,
yes.
right?
But I
So-
think it's the type of team that has the experience to deal with the pressure, right? A lot of experienced folks in that unit, and I think they could handle the pressure and use it as a positive this time. And like you said, the injuries might play a role because we don't know just yet if AJ Brown is going to be available. He got injured or left the game during the last week, so we don't know for sure if he's going to be playing or not. So that could be a major drop in their offense. Of course, he's such an extraordinary weapon, but they still have an explosive offense. And so if AJ Brown is available, I think the X factor, the ultimate X factor, is going to be that offense. Whether or not Jalen Hurts can play his best game of the year moving forward, or if that's the case, I'm confident that the Eagles can put something together, at least go through the box and move on to the next game.
Yeah, for me, it comes down to defense on the Eagles side.
Yeah, which
Because
is terrible.
it's
That's what I'm
terrible.
trusting the
It's
offense.
One of the worst defenses, right, in terms of third down conversion. So if you're still,
I didn't want to go there, brother. You didn't have to bring the defense, okay? Like, let's
it's,
keep
I
focus
mean,
on the offense. Offense, you hearing
against the
this?
pass
Come
as
on.
well. I mean, this is a terrible defense, and even more
It
during
has
the
been
last
awful.
7 games.
It has been awful.
So yeah,
It
I
has been
mean,
awful, but again, I think they have so much to prove that that should be the motor here. That should be the reason why they go and play with their heart, soul, spirit, everything, and they
I
end
don't,
up winning this.
I don't think they have enough motivation to do it. Like,
They actually do. I think they actually do
I don't know.
because of how dangerous it is to see a team go off the cliff like this in just 1 year. Like they came from a
No,
very
I mean,
successful
in 3
year,
months, less than that.
of course. And so I think that's a very dangerous position to be at. A lot of jobs, and we talked about this earlier. What
Yes.
happens if the Eagles lose in this first round? Sirianni's job might be in danger, maybe, right? And so even from a coaching perspective, I bet they're gonna come ready to play and they're gonna prepare as best as they can to make this happen. Because if not, we could potentially see a lot of aggressive moves in the front office,
Yeah.
and that could be dangerous. And that's that again, fearing that. If you're a player, if you're a coach, I think could also be a great motivation for you to deliver the best
We'll
game you
see.
can.
We'll see how it goes on that one. What's your prediction on that one?
That's gonna be 27-24
Ooh.
Eagles.
Okay, too many points. I have 18-14 for the Buccaneers.
You just said that the Eagles defense sucked, brother. How are
Yeah,
they are gonna only score 18 points against that
I
defense
mean,
that is
it's
so
not that it's
historically
the
bad?
greatest. It's not that it's the greatest offense as well.
But if
right?
it's so much of a bad defense, they should be able to score more than a couple points.
Still, we're talking about a quarterback that it's not that consistent. Of course, he had a good run by the end of the regular season, but
Are
he
you
also
sure you?
had some inconsistencies against the Saints
Are
last
you sure
week.
you don't want to change sides here? Because
No, I
I'm
don't.
hearing
I
a little
don't.
bit of hesitation here
No,
with the
no, no.
Bucks.
I don't. No, I don't. But I don't think it's also. I mean, we're not talking about the 49ers offense, like to score 40, 47, 48 points against the Eagles. So, I mean, those are limited teams at this point. That's why I'm giving such a low score for the both of them.
Okay, okay.
Still a close game. I don't think the Eagles are that bad to get a blowout
Get blowed
loss.
out. Yeah.
No, definitely not. But 18-14. We'll see what
Okay.
happens there.
Okay. Interesting. All
Interesting
right.
Monday night. We'll have
100%. AFC. So again, we have Ravens on the bye, and then we have Browns at Texas.
Texans. Great teams. Great teams. Definitely good seasons for the both of them. One that it's like got fixed in the middle of it. Like bringing also Joe Flacco, which for me it was the greatest trade that the Browns did during the season. And we have on the other side a rookie quarterback, right? No experience in
But what a
playoffs,
rookie, though.
but candidate for rookie of the year, right? Offensive rookie of the year.
Let's remove the candidate. He is the
I mean,
rookie
he's
of the
still.
year.
I mean,
Come on.
we just talk about someone that it's also that did something amazing, Puka Nakua, right? So
Well, we know how these
we
leagues
know
goes
how
about
these things
quarterbacks
go.
and prioritizing their role.
Yes, of course. But that's why I'm saying candidate. I would like Nakua also to be in the conversation.
Yeah, for sure. He deserves
Right?
it. Yeah.
He deserves that. But definitely, yes. I mean, we're talking about the biggest, let's say that, so that you like my word, the biggest candidate for offensive rookie of the year.
I still
so we
don't
have-
like it that much because I just think he is the rookie of the year. But okay, I'll take that. I'll take
Yeah,
that.
it's the most you're gonna get today. So sorry for that. But yeah, CJ Stroud against Joe Flacco, great matchup. Experience against new blood.
Yeah.
For me, experience will
conquer the whole thing. Yeah,
conquer. Yeah, we'll stay
will prevail.
in the fight of playoffs.
Okay.
So yeah, for me, it's gonna be the Browns. Even though the Texans actually had a great season and they should be proud
You're already
of
talking in
the
past,
year.
brother. You're really killing the Texans.
No. I mean, that's
But
my prediction. I'm just saying the Texans at this point, and I said it in the previous episode. If they lose, even if they lose big time, they should feel proud of the season they had. It was a rebuild year for them, bringing rookie quarterback, bringing a new uh, coaching staff. Like a lot of great things happened, or a lot of changes happened, and a lot of great things happened for them in the middle of those changes. So for me, it's about that. But I'm not killing them. Still, my predictions with the Browns, but this is one of those games that it's very unpredictable. We don't know, and I don't know what's gonna happen. To be honest,
yeah.
I just have a uh, like kind of like a hunch, something like that. But I'm still hesitating on this one
Okay.
specifically.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. It could go either way. It comes down to who makes the less mistakes, I guess.
Yeah.
That's gonna be very important, and that's when experience matters. We know Joe Flacco has gone through it all, and
Yeah.
one of the positive things about him is that he's playing without any type of pressure whatsoever, right? Because we saw what happened with Baker was there a couple of years ago, and then Deshaun Watson got there, and both of them came in with a lot of pressure on their shoulders to deliver for this team because they have great weapons. And now Joe Flacco, which he doesn't have anything else to prove. He just come and plays relax. He's a pretty
Like
accurate.
the old guy that it's coming from,
Yeah.
from kind of like retirement, just chilling and
100%. And so
smoking
I think
cigar.
I think that's also something that is gonna play in their favor, and that's why I'm also taking the Browns. I think the Texans have a bright future, and again, I love my guy CJ Stroud, but I think his time comes later, not just yet.
Not just yet.
It's
I
still,
agree.
I still think it's gonna be a close game, but the Browns defense also is gonna play a major role. Again, the experience is gonna matter a lot. So I'm taking the Browns to beat the Texans 23-19. How about your score?
27-21.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, I would like to see CJ Stroud on that last drive and see how he
Okay.
manages that.
Okay, we'll see
We'll,
what
we'll
happens
see.
then.
We'll see.
Nice. We have coming up next as well Dolphins at Kansas.
I wanted this for last.
Oh, you want to reserve this for last?
Yeah,
Well, let's
yeah,
skip
yeah.
this for now.
Let's
Okay,
skip
okay,
this
that's
one.
fine. That's fine. Steelers at Bills.
Steelers at Bills. I already said it the previous episode. I'm going with the Bills because they're on fire right now. They're in the zone. They're playing great in terms of offense. They're playing a good defense. I know. The last game, um, they made a few mistakes, but still they managed to overcome the Dolphins in Miami, right? So for me, they're a hell of a team right now. They're playing how they're supposed to be playing. What we expected from them since the beginning of the season, it's what they are right now. That's why I'm giving it to the Bills. Pittsburgh, great season for Pittsburgh. Some inconsistencies in the road, but they have an injury that for me it's the key, and it's what's designing the game even before it starts. I'm not saying I'm not ruling them out just yet. They will be in the fight, but I think it's going to be hard for them without TJ Watt.
Yeah, yeah, major loss for them. It was already confirmed that TJ Watt is not going to be available for this game. And that to me was the factor, the most important one. for the prediction, because when I realized that TJ Watt was not going to be available, it became an easy decision. It's now the Bills 100%. There is no way. I just don't see how the Steelers can turn this around without TJ Watt and his defensive presence. He might end up being the defensive player of the year. We'll have to see what happens with that. But yeah, as long as Josh Allen plays fairly good, he reduces the amount of mistakes and turnovers in this game. I think it becomes an easier path for the Bills now that that defense is going to be impacted without TJ Watt. They're playing at home. They still have a good team. They can still compete all the way through. Again, they caught fire at the right time of the year, which is always important. So it should be a fairly easy win for the Bills, in my opinion. So I'm taking the Bills 100%, 17-31. I think they're gonna crush the Steelers, and I'm actually being a little easy on this because I think it could even go even worse.
Yes, it could be worse. But I'm going with you. I'm giving a 24-17 for the Bills.
Pretty conservative, I would say.
Yeah,
pretty
I'm
conservative.
Conservative on this one.
You still trusting the Steelers
we'll
to stop them?
See. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. I know. We might see more points on this game as well. But I'm trusting that this is the playoffs. So
yeah, it should be close games. I know,
I'm expecting close games.
But this is also an opportunity for the Bills to show their presence and to send the message to the rest of the league that they are now the real deal, right? Like they are back in the conversation and they can go and compete against the better teams.
Yeah.
So this is the best chance they will have to do that, because after this round, things will definitely get tough.
Yes.
But yeah, that's the Steelers Bills. And then you wanted this for last.
Finally, yes, this is the main dish.
Do you really think that
Yes.
it has a lot of components that make
Exactly.
you feel like that's gonna be the biggest game of the weekend? Dolphins at Kansas. So what's your prediction here?
With temperatures below zero, right?
That's gonna be cold.
Probably
Your
some
asses are gonna be
snow.
cold as hell.
That's gonna be cold. So those are the type of matches that you want to see in January. So we'll see how it goes for Dolphins Chiefs, because I'm very conservative for this one. I'm not quite sure. The Chiefs are not type of team you want to face in playoffs, even though they had a terrible year. Sorry. So I'm trusting the Dolphins. They've played great football during the last probably 7-8 weeks, right? The whole season, I guess it was pretty consistent for them. They lost the division at the end against the Bills, but they definitely played good football. But they also have some injuries, so that's what makes me hesitate. And the fact that they're facing the Chiefs at visiting Chiefs, so it's at Kansas. I'm not quite sure about this one, but it's an interesting match, and this is definitely the one nobody wants to miss.
Yeah, it's more than interesting, I would say. And the funny part about the Dolphins and the fact that they're gonna have to deal with the cold weather and all of that is that they put themselves in that position. Like you said, they lost the division. It wasn't taken, it was lost by them.
Yes.
And I think that's going to play against them a lot. And they should have had a very, very different path throughout these playoffs if they would have won that game and conquered that division. So now they're going to have to go to Kansas. Nobody wants to go to Kansas.
Nobody wants
play
to
Pat
go to
Mahomes
Kansas.
and Kelsey and Taylor Swift and everybody else that is going to be there. I think that even
Taylor
that's
Swift
even
fans
that
as well.
is exactly, and their moms,
Yes.
because we all know Taylor Swift. It's bringing a lot of kids to their concerts, to her concerts. So even their moms are gonna be there. Okay, you have to play against all of that just because you didn't deliver in your own stadium, and that's a problem for
In
the
the
Dolphins.
last game,
Yeah, when it matters the most,
Prime time.
they kind of came short. But yeah, I think Kansas. I agree. It hasn't been their year. It hasn't been the same Kansas we were accustomed to, and that's the problem when you build such a great team that, for some, might even be already a dynasty. For some others, still close, but not yet. Nonetheless, when you are accustomed to see greatness, like we saw from Kansas in the past couple of years, and then you see a regular kind of still successful season like this, everybody thinks like, oh, they suck. They're not the same team or whatever.
No, no, no. That's a
But
mistake.
it is not the reality, right? We know that these guys have the talent to pretty much go through the whole thing and win it just based on the talent they have in certain positions. And it comes down to the Kansas receivers, the wide receivers, because obviously we understand that
That's what I
Kelsey is
wanted.
out of that discussion. But if they
Yeah.
can catch a single ball, brother, one ball, okay?
But
Like, stop dropping balls that are just right in front of your hands, because it's not Mahomes, okay? It's you guys.
Exactly, exactly. That's what I was gonna say. Like, it's not Mahomes because he has been absolutely
Great, as he
great
always is.
during the whole season. Yeah, he hasn't lose consistency, but they are gonna be freezing, and it's easier under that weather to drop balls, right?
Yeah, yeah.
To drop those
But
passes.
the positive thing
So
that they can think about is that Miami is obviously not used to
Used
this
to it,
weather.
yeah.
Okay, so it's gonna be even potentially even harder for their receivers to, you know, get the ball and just grab it and not lose it. So the only one that is accustomed to this, of course, is gonna be Tyreek Hill, who is coming back to Kansas, so he's used to playing there.
Yeah.
But everybody else is gonna be freezing.
yes,
So-
pretty much, pretty much. But we'll see. I mean, this is going to be one of those matches in which also the one that makes the less mistakes will stay
Prevail, yeah.
in the run.
Yeah, we'll see what
So
Tua
we'll see how
can
it
do
goes.
in the head-to-head
Yeah.
against Mahomes, because we know that, I mean, most of us would definitely agree that Mahomes is the better quarterback, and
For sure.
that just heads down. It's what it is. But everybody else will have to play their role. The defenses will have to play their role. I think Kansas has still a great defense, and if they can put Tua under pressure, if Chris Jones comes in and does his thing, we might see Tua struggling a little bit. Again, the weather is going to be a factor. So for sure, with all of those reasons, I think it's pretty obvious I'm taking Kansas. I want to see Kansas because every time we have Mahomes playing a game, it's quite a show. So I want to
Yeah,
see
yeah.
that every time.
I'm hesitant on this one, and as I said, well, I would like to see Kansas facing the Bills again. You know, for the AFC, but I think the Dolphins will get this one.
Oh,
I'm going with the Dolphins. So
oh.
by a close margin, of course, 34-31 for me, it's going to be the
Okay.
final score.
So we
a lot
kind
of
of-
points there.
Yeah, we are kind of on the same page in regards of the distance, because it seems like it's a field goal that it's separating
Yes.
these two teams. So it's going to be 24-27 for me. Kansas is going to win.
And I guess, and I think, I believe the defense for each team will score on this one. I don't know why, but the weather might play against the quarterbacks, so we might see, or the running backs as well.
Yeah.
So we might see the defense scoring.
Yeah,
on
turnovers will
both.
matter. And
both
they always
teams.
matter, obviously, in the postseason. Every
Yeah.
ball you lose is, I mean, you have to take advantage of that if you're the
Yeah.
team that gets that ball. So, yeah, this is one of those that could be a game for many years to be discussing and to be remembered. But that's enough about our prediction, guys. It's your turn. We want to hear what you guys have to say about all of these matchups. So you already know you can go to the comments, drop your own predictions. We're going to be checking those out. And yeah, in the next episode, we're going to figure it out who got things right.
Yes, well, I mean, this is going to be a wild weekend. Definitely for everyone
The
who
name for the
loves
round tells you everything you need to know. Wild cards, okay?
So it's going to be a great weekend for everyone who loves sports. So as Dylan said, go and drop your comments about your predictions. Of course, don't forget to subscribe if you like our content.
Yeah.
And if you have some feedback or something you want us to talk about, also put it in there in the comments. You already know how to do it, as Dylan said at the beginning,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
So
Yeah. A
yeah,
lot of exciting things in upcoming episodes. We're gonna be hearing to all those suggestions. We're gonna be hearing to any topics you guys want us to bring to the table. We're gonna take those into account for sure because this is a community. We want to interact with you guys and make sure we all enjoy the show. We all enjoy the topics we're gonna be discussing. So let us know. Let us know and stay tuned. Subscribe to the channel. I mean, if you're still here and you haven't subscribed, what are you doing?
what are you waiting for? I mean,
We can wait, actually. No, we
yeah.
can't because it's pretty late, but you already know how to do it, okay?
Yeah.
Thank you all for the support. We appreciate it. That's going to wrap up today's episode. We hope you liked it. We are
Yes.
loving it. And what's to come, again, it's
We
going to
enjoy
be
it as well.
great, okay? So thank you all guys for the support. My guy, you already know
My
what it
guy,
is.
You know, thank you.
I'm winning these predictions. I'm winning these
We'll
predictions.
see. We'll see. We'll see.
Peace, guys.